Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Thanks for coming and having a look at my little video for today's deck tech. Go down below, hit the subscribe button. As I record this, I am sitting at 139 subscribers on the channel, so still ticking up towards that eventual goal of 1,000. But if you can hit the button, help me out, appreciate it. Anyway, today's card is still a Frexual Orby one, but actually I decided to have a look at one of the cards from one of the Commander decks. That I want to try and build around and do something slightly different with it. So, without further ado, let me introduce to you Otharri, Sun's Glory, 3 red and a white for a 3/3 Phoenix with flying, lifelink and haste, and whenever they attack you get an experience counter, and that then you create a 2/2 rebel creature token that's tapped and attacking for each experience counter you have. Interesting. It's definitely different. And it's one of the few commanders I've seen recently where you want to get your commander into your graveyard instead of having it go back to the command zone when it dies, because you've got a way of cheating it back in with this card. You get to pay the 2, the red and a white, and tap a rebel, and you get to get it back into play that way. Now, rebels are not... They are rebels. We all know there's rebels in the new set. We all know there's rebels turning up in Frexual Orby 1, Usually they come with a bit of equipment attached to them, and you play the equipment, you get the rebel. Nice. There's a couple of others, but not many. So, I really want to do the rebel thing, and I was really stuck, and then my brain went back, and my brain remembered about 10, maybe 15 years ago now, there was a set that came out that was a whole block that came out that was full of rebels, and my brain went into a bit of overdrive, so we kind of went down a semi-tribal deck with this. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the actual deck itself. And this is where we are today. So, not with the Traxxer, sorry, don't know why that appeared at the top there. So, as usual, for one of my deck techs, lands, red and white, all the way through. Mountains, plains. My plateau is in here. Obviously, when you see the deck cost down below, you can go and ignore that if you want to. Going up from there, the ramp side of things, Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, both diamonds, Talisman and Conviction. I've tried to keep the price down on this one for a change. Things were getting a little bit expensive previously, so I've tried to keep it down, but apart from the plateau, obviously. I've also broken my one cardinal rule. I've included Nykthos in this deck. Now, there is a reason for this. It'll become very obvious after the first couple of cards. But I think we need Nykthos in this deck to give us the bump that we need to do things with. So just bear that in mind when we're going through the deck. Anyway, let's go through the creatures, and you'll see why we have Nykthos in the deck more or less instantly. Well, let's do it first. Basically, I went back to Masks block, Mercadian Masks, and remember they had rebels. And a lot of the good rebels, like the Ramazonian Sergeant here, have this ability. You pay 3 or you pay some amount of mana, search your library for a rebel permanent card with mana value 2 or less and put it on the battlefield. Now, these ones are a little bit different compared to the Mercenaries, because the Mercenaries, which were the black version, the more mana they paid, the cheaper the creature was you got. This one you're paying, the more mana you pay, the bigger the creature is you get. So, this Ramosian Sergeant goes and searches that mana value 2, the mana value 2 one goes and searches that mana value 3 one, so on and so on and so on and so on. But they are all rebels, and they do actually have some abilities that can be quite useful to us. So, for example, the other rebel that's sitting here, the Child of Corlys. Sacrifice the Child of Corlys, you gain life equal to the life you've lost this turn. Does keep you in the game. People do use it in combo decks occasionally in modern, but yeah. Anyway, but this is why we have the whole rebel ability. The search out of rebel is why we have Nykthos, because we do need that extra mana, and once we get going a bit, we can produce mana with Nykthos in this deck. So Amaru Scouts here, go and get them, pay 4, go and get a 3 mana rebel. Defiant Falcon, pay 4 mana, go and get 3 mana rebel at 1/1. Not great. Ramosian Lieutenant, slightly better, but still 4 mana, get 3 mana one. I've kept Skrevlev's Hive in. There's another reason for this, because obviously what we want to be doing is attacking with Otharri as much as possible. And it could be that we could go and get some extra poison in. Plus I want to try it out in Commander, and this seems like a reasonable place to try it out, hence why it's here. Knight of the Holy Nimbus is a rebel, but it has flanking, and it would be destroyed, regenerate it, which is quite different. But your opponents can pay 2 mana to stop it having that regeneration ability, but otherwise you've got a nice permanent blocker if they're not going to pay the 2 mana for it. Red-white deck, docksides here. Yep, sorry. First bit of the equipment from our Phyrexian will be one for Mirrodin, so we get a rebel that way. Is the Hex Gold Halberd, so yep, that's here. Going up to the 3-drop, we've got some of the other rebels you would have seen. Defiant Vanguard. This is still quite a good one. Destroy it and all creatures it blocked this turn. So, you know, you can put it in front of the biggest thing you've got coming in at you and block it and blow it up. So it's quite a nice little rebel, this one. Gold Warden's Helms here from the new set. Halo Fountain. We can probably have a lot of tokens, and we can probably untap them and get small citizens. Yes, they're not rebels, but you know, citizens help. Lawbringers here. Sacrifice to exile target red creature. Leonin Lightbringer's also here. We've got some equipment going around, so hopefully we'll be able to get this equipped at some stage when some of the tokens die. Lightbringer does the same as the Lawbringer, but for black creatures. Mercenary Informer is quite a strange card. Can't be the target of black spells or abilities, fine. But put target non-mercenary on the bottom of its loner's library. Now, if I remember the rules correctly, as long as the creature isn't a mercenary, you can get rid of it and put it on the bottom of their library, I think. But I need to check the rules out. I can't remember exactly. So if I've got it wrong, apologies for everyone that's screaming at the video. Carrying on from there, more rebels in the Outrider on Vec. We're flanking again. Saltfield Recruit is just one we could search up to give us -2, something to a target creature. But they're all rebels. You just got to remember they're all rebels, and that's what we need for Otharri to cheat out of the graveyard. Zealot Evek is got Shadow, is a Shadow Rebel. And Lin Civi, Defiant Hero, is probably the most well-known rebel from this area, from Nemesis. And this one's even better, because then you can just pay X and go and search your library for a rebel permanent card and just do it that way. So, you know, if you've got 1 spare mana floating around, you can go and get your Child or your Ramosian Sergeant. It's also put target rebel card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. It recycles our rebels for us. Thank you. Ooh. Ramosian Captain goes up to the 4 for 5. So on and so forth. Riftmark Knight's quite interesting though, from Time Spiral, if I remember correctly. Been mastered, yeah. Protection from black and flanking. Great. 3 mana. Can cope with that. That's nice. Suspend for 3. And when the last counter is removed from it, exiled, create a 2/2 black knight creature token with flanking and protection from white and haste. So if you suspend this, you get 4 2/2s that can come in and attack. Quite nice. Even better. We're getting into the other interesting bit now. Aggravated Assault. As I said earlier, we want Otharri to attack as many times as possible, so we're going to have a lot of cards in this deck that give us additional combat phases. Aggravated Assault's the first one. Combat Celebrant's the second one. And then we've got the Bladehold Whip, just because it's another rebel. Anointed Procession, because we can double up all the tokens we're getting, so yep, thanks. Blister's God is a little bit of removal. You can shoot things down with it when you get the summoning sickness off. Another rebel card, Hex Gold Hoverwings from the new set. I've concluded Court of Grace because spirits do help us have some blockers every turn for free. If we get the angels, all the better. Wrath of God's also here to control the board. Full Shock Splitter, another bit of equipment. And then it's at the end of the day, Otharian's a Phoenix. I think we needed a couple of Phoenixes in the deck, just have some fun with it. You know, like I said, semi-tribal all over the place, this one. So, Warcry Phoenix is here. Akoum Firebird's here. Chain Reaction to control the board again. Everquill Phoenix. I think it is mutatable because, you know, some of these are, see, Core Rebel. So we can mutate onto them. So, yeah. Get our 4 falls in. It's always good fun. Relentless Assault, another repeat the combat phase card. Sunstreak Phoenix, just so we can do the whole day-night trick. Miriam Baradich, just so we can have another rebel creature come into play. Yeah, Anointed Procession will help us double up the rebels. Also doubles up the rebels from here, by the way, just to remember. Ballistic Serpent, Shepherd. I wanted another flyer in the deck, basically, and this gave us a couple of toxic toad creatures, so I decided it was fun. But, you know, the toxic creatures could become angels, like hopefully all the rebels will do with Divine Visitation. Karlax here for an extra combat step. Shard Phoenix, because it's a nice little way of getting a bit of removal in for lower down the spot. For the cheaper creatures, I should say. Dragawing Gliders here as well. Renaissance Sky Warden is one of the only rebels I think I've included that haven't got equipment attached to them from All Will Be One. Rionia, Fire Warden. We aren't playing that many instances of sorcerers. I think there's only really the removal spells. But you know, at the end of the day, if we can copy something like Combat Celebrant, untap everything and go again, and just keep copying, you do get the little combo going with both of them, so it is quite nice. Likewise, Savage Beatings here. Cast a spell on during your turn and only during combat. Creatures you control gain double strike at the end of turn, or you can untap them all. And for a marvelous 7 mana, you can give everything double strike, untap them all, and have another combat step. So yeah, bear it in mind. Hellkite Charger, another way of getting additional combat, so we keep more rebels on the go with Otharri. Morag, Fury of Akum is also here. Just make sure that you play this, have your combat step, then play your land in your second main phase to get your combat step. Yeah, I think I'll just put that out there now. I've seen people play it wrong quite regularly. Scourge of the Throne, another way of getting a combat step with the dethrone. Another quick Angels, Phoenix is in the Scarred Firebird, because I quite like this one from back in the day, so that's in here. And Aureliel, the War Leader, has also made an appearance for this deck. Attacks for the first time each turn, untap all creatures you control, la-di-da-di-da. You know all the thing about extra combat steps. Fury of the Horde, another way again a combat step, but it's also a nice cheap way because we can just exile a couple of the red cards we don't want from our hands. And Response and Resurgence here gives it a tiny bit of removal, but you know, creatures you control gain first strike and vigilance until the end of turn, and then there's another combat step, and there's a resurgence side we're really interested in. And finally, Blasphemous Act just helps control the board game. It's a bit of a mishmash, this deck. I will be honest, you know, there's bits of extra turns, there's extra combat steps, bits of rebels, bits of Phoenix. I think it's fun. I've played one game with it and it worked. I'm not going to say it brilliantly worked well, mainly because I went in a high-powered game and didn't get much of a play. But what I did see of the deck, you know, I did get to attack with Otharri. I did get some rebels out. So, you know, it is there, it is doable. But, you know, down below in the comments, let me know what I've missed out. Let me know what you think. And hopefully you've hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you when I put my next video up. So thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon. Bye.